as I have loved you, as I have loved you. It's not just love one another. It says I, Jesus Christ, have loved you. So you must love one another. Matthew, you remember when we met? You were collecting taxes at a table. Everybody thought you were a traitor. People hated you. These guys, the rest of the apostles said, Peter, remember what you thought of Matthew? Remember? Peter's not saying anything. He's embarrassed right now. Right? Peter, remember you told me I should not have anything to do with Matthew. But what did I do? I went up to Matthew and I loved him. I want you to love each other like that. To love each other when you think there's no reason for loving each other. John, remember where we went after I met up with Matthew? We went to Matthew's house. Yeah! And who was there? Prostitutes. Other tax collectors. Yes! People who your mama told you should never hang out with. I loved Matthew like that. I love those people like that. That's how I want you to love one another. Nathaniel, you remember the first day we met? Your brother's here. He's an eyewitness. Your brother Nathaniel, he came over to see you and he said, Nathaniel, I have met this amazing man, the Messiah. You got to come see him. He's incredible. He's from Nazareth. Do you remember what you said to him, Nathaniel? Yeah, I said, could anything good ever come from Nazareth? Yes! You disrespected me and my whole family, Nathaniel. And what did I do? You're one of my guys. I loved you. I called you to be my disciple. That's what I want you to do. That's how I want you to love one another, like I have loved you. And then he said this, John 13:35. By this one thing, by this one dynamic, by this one breakthrough, by this will everyone know you are my disciples. Everyone will know you are a follower of Jesus Christ if you love other followers of Jesus Christ like I love you. Everybody will know. Christians. We can all be Christians. Love each other the way Jesus loved those guys? Well, that defines it. It's hard to get out from under that one. You know, I could go to the Bible and prove most Christians wrong on a lot of subjects. Because I can go, well, you can use this verse to say that, you can use this verse to... I can't go to the Bible and prove disciples wrong as easily. Because Christianity isn't defined in the Bible. Discipleship is. By this one thing, everyone will know that you're my disciples, and then just in case they missed it, if you love one another. So he says, I know you're all Christians. Are you disciples? And here's my favorite part of the passage. This is huge, big deal. Jesus has just given the core concept of what being a disciple is all about. It's about loving one another. Right now he's waiting for their questions, like, here's his classroom. Is Stephen going to stick up his hand? Nathaniel, Peter, Andrew. Well, Peter does. Peter sticks up his hand. John 13:36. So Simon Peter asked of him after that great oratory from Jesus, yeah, Lord, where are you going? Where am I going? Did you just miss the point of the whole message? I talk about loving one another. And you want to know where I'm going? Yeah, I want to go with you. You know, all you need is love. Yeah, that sounds like a good song, Jesus. But look, I am willing to die for you. I want to be seen with you. I want to be on your left or your right side. You can't leave me. And, you know, later on, Jesus was going to say, look, in a little while, some middle school girl is going to convince you to turn your back on me. And Peter's like, no. Look, I'm willing to die for you. You know what? I wonder if Jesus would have said something like, you know what? I don't need you to be willing to die for me today. I don't need you to be willing to even follow me that much today. Peter, I don't even want you to go where I'm going. I want you to do something way more difficult than all of that. I want you to love these guys for the rest of your life the way I love you. In such a way that people outside of this community of followers, of disciples, on the outside, looks at your relationships, the way you love each other, and they are drawn to the edges and say, look how the disciples love. I want you to create a community. Friends, we can do this. This isn't just apostle stuff. We can do this. Jesus wanted Peter and the disciples, the apostles, to create a community of people that are defined and characterized by that kind of unconditional, generous, compassionate, ridiculous, who would do that kind of love? He wants people to come that are from the outside, that aren't followers of Jesus. He wants them to creep up to the fringes of disciples, of our church. Unafraid that we're going to ask them to do something. Unafraid that we're going to drag them in and force them to come to a banquet or something. Unafraid that we're going to accuse them of being horrible, horrible, horrible people. Jesus wanted the disciples to be able to create a community where people that weren't disciples could come to the edge of the community and look at the community, look at our church and say, look at how the men treat the women in that community. Look at how the women honor the men. Look at how the children honor their parents. Look at how they treat the widows and the sick. Oh my goodness. Look at how they respond to persecution. It's almost like they don't even fear death. Look at them love. I have met so many non-Christians at funerals of Christians. And I should say it the way that I've been asking you to the whole message. I have met so many non-followers of Jesus at funerals for a follower of Jesus. And they have come up to me after the message. And they have said, I am not a Christian. But the difference between one of your funerals and one of mine for people I am associated with that don't know Jesus is like the difference between night and day. It's like you people aren't afraid to die. Sure, you're sad sometimes, but you're not afraid. Your funerals are like celebrations. And I go, that's because they are. We love each other in that way because of what we believe. And Jesus said, I want you to go and build communities like that draw these people to the edges. And you know, when these people are drawn to the edges, they're not going to be able to help but get closer and closer until they're no longer on the edges. Your communities will grow. This church will grow. I don't know if I want to become a Christian. This is a person on the outside. But I'd like to work for one. You know, one of my buddies is here this morning. I'm not going to name this person. But you know what? He basically tells the guys who work around him, because he's a supervisor, that they're not allowed to swear. He's just loving them. And they may be confused, but they like working for him. It's amazing. Pretty soon he's going to answer questions on how they can know Jesus and become a follower himself. Jesus is like, Here's some other things that these people who are watching from the outside would say if they're watching a community who truly loves each other, like Jesus called us to. You know, these Christians, these disciples, rather, they're so odd. When they mess up, they tell you. You don't have to find out after. They're generous to a fault. They're willing to do the right thing, even though it costs them. I would hire all of them. I don't know if I'd ever want to be a Christian, but I would love to think that someone would treat my daughter the way those men treat their wives.